I may or may not just stop the recording. So I think we are good to go, Mr. Knowlton, and we'll turn it over to you. So Chris Knowlton, Principal Program Manager for Stream.
Yep. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate that.
You bet.
And thanks to all of you for your interest in this topic. All right, so we'll go through a few things today. We'll talk a little bit about the vision that we have for where we're headed, talk a little bit about some of the features. I'll touch on roadmap and then maybe a few other things. And I'll go fairly quickly because there's a lot of content here, but it is, we have 20 minutes. And so I will go fast. Feel free to ask questions and we can come back later and pick those up. Okay. So first, let's just touch on growth. It's kind of an interesting thing. We've had a lot of growth in the last year, as you might expect with COVID, especially, and folks staying home. Our growth has gone up. You know, people watching videos 23 times as much as they were a year ago. People are uploading 300 hours of content a minute, and that's something like 2/3 of what YouTube takes in, which astounded us. And you know, just there's lots of stuff happening. And amidst all that, we're trying to also do a major revision of Stream. So it's interesting times. So we've heard a lot of feedback about the fact that we need to have more features for governance and sharing and guest access, that we also have to have coherence with the rest of M365, better coherence, because right now we're sort of bolted onto the side. The portal doesn't offer the customization a lot of folks want. And many people have video outside of Stream, you know, on OneDrive and SharePoint, and that doesn't get any special treatment at all. It's sort of like two separate worlds for video today. So where we want to go is to what we're calling New Stream. What we'll do is make sure that all videos in M365, whether they're on OneDrive or SharePoint or elsewhere, are going to be treated just like Stream videos. In fact, we're going to call any video or audio that you upload now Stream Media. Our web apps, basically that portal that you go to today, will be replaced by some other things. We also will make use of all the goodness of SharePoint and OneDrive. We've been building on bare metal Azure storage and having to keep rebuilding things like compliance, governance and search and external sharing, and it's just been rather tedious. We realized if we just moved everything over to SharePoint and OneDrive for the storage, we could do all the things that people have been asking us for and do it much faster, and then really go focus on the extra value that we can bring with the power of intelligence and AI. And then the last thing there is actually the idea that we can go and do some new smart things, which you'll see coming out in about a year, which are going to be awesome. So Stream today is loosely coupled. I called it bolted on the side, loosely coupled with Office. And you know, there's some good integrations across the products, right? You can go drop a Stream video into PowerPoint or create a video in PowerPoint and upload it directly to Stream. But it's really a separate thing. It's a standalone thing. And it's isolated from the rest of Microsoft 365. So here's where we want to get, and this is where we're headed, where Stream is just another, basically an Office file type, just like Word and PowerPoint. It will be all stored in the same place as all of your other files, side by side. So for instance, if you are an educator and you have a folder of material for your, you know, one of your classes, now you can put the videos right next to all those other pieces of content. So it's all in one place. You don't have to go somewhere else. And because basically video is becoming a first-class citizen within the M365 framework. And this is what it looks like from an integration standpoint. I mean, it's what I'm trying to emphasize here with the play buttons on all these different locations and applications is that wherever you happen to be working, whether it's in OneDrive or in Word, rather than go off to Stream and do a screen recording and then come back and paste it into Word, or double click on somebody's put in a link to a video or a thumbnail of a video in one of these documents and you click on it, you don't get pushed out to a Stream portal. You just play it right in place. And you can also go full screen and get a full player experience. So the idea is that no matter where you are, whatever that context is, you'll be able to have all the richness of Stream within that context. And it will be the same across M365. So today we think about Stream as being three things: organizing your video through the portal and the ability to discover things and the ability to embed players. It's consuming video, so actually making use of those players, but not only that, you get all the capabilities that you see there on the middle pane, which is things like transcripts and descriptions and links to specific points in the video. And then the third part is about creating video. And that you can do today through the stream screen record, which I saw somebody asked a question about. We'll get to that soon. Through meeting recordings, being able to capture on your mobile device using Stream Mobile, which incorporates the Flipgrid camera, and then doing lightweight editing using the trim functionality. Where it looks tomorrow is it's still those same three categories, but now we'll be organizing the content on a company portal that's created in SharePoint. We'll give you a template right out of the box that's going to look great, but you'll be able to customize any way you want to. You'll be able to change the content that shows there. You'll be able to change the access to who you want to see it. You'll still be able to embed videos as well in different places. And then there'll be a new stream app, and I'll talk about that in a moment. From a consumption standpoint, it's really the same as before, where you have links and embed codes, and you can still read the transcript while you watch, but now you can do it right where you are, as I mentioned before. And then finally, from a creation standpoint, you can also do that from anywhere. And you can still capture with your phone, but now from any of the M365 apps. So that's where we're headed. In terms of sort of a spectrum of what you might want to do based on how your organization thinks about video. It can be anywhere from the left where it's constrained, and maybe you just want, you have this continuum, right? So on the left, it might be just where you want to have sort of one-off sharing, a few people sharing content. In that second column where it's company-wide top-down, or organization-wide top-down, I should say, it should really be where you have a few people maybe in marketing or internal communications who are really controlling the content but communicating to a broad set of folks. The third one might be where you're collaborating, and of course Teams is a great place for collaboration on videos, and each of these is progressively more what's the word? The opposite of restrictive. So it's restrictive on the left and then more open on the right as you move across. And then number 4 then is democratized video, where anyone can contribute video, anyone can upload video, and you share it very broadly across the organization. So having said all that, that's sort of the high-level overview. Let me give you some quick looks at the features. So today we have web.microsoftstream.com, and that's where you go for your main portal. And that's really just that collection of content that you as a viewer can see based on the permissions. Tomorrow, it's going to be much more like any other Office application that you can think of, like word.office.com or PowerPoint.office.com, where you come in, you get some tasks at the top, you get some recommended content the next row down, and then below that you can see all the files that you own, that have been shared with you, that you have pinned, which is kind of like the Stream watch list. And you can go searching for content as well, and you can upload content. And you notice on here, some of the creation tasks include things like creating playlists and podcasts. You'll be able to do all of that from here, and it will be this great entry point where anyone can go to, but from here you'll also have links back to Classic Stream until that's retired, and you'll also have links to all your video portals that you create within the organization. So from this one screen, you'll be able to get to all the videos that have been shared on a portal within the organization. From a playback perspective, this is the newer player, the newer layout, where now by default, the description below the player is unfurled all the way, so you can see what's in there. Today you all you see is the first couple of lines, then you have to go and click. And a lot of people miss the fact that there are often links like you see here that take you right to chapter points in the video. On the right, we've moved the transcripts there, but now you see more of it, and you can do one-click editing where you click once and now you can edit the whole time code by time code. You'll also have a watch next list, so basically recommendations based on not just what's trending, but actually what's relevant to you, much as you might see relevant documents for you if you go to a SharePoint site that has all of your content on it, or use Delve or something like that. The comments also moved over to the right, so now they are right in line on the right, and you can also see where they appeared in the video, and eventually we'll probably overlap that transcript and the comments, so you can really get the full context of when somebody commented, what were they commenting on? If they say, I love that point, and you have no idea, well, when we combine those, it'll be really clear because it'll show you where they were in the video and what the presenter was saying. And of course, we'll still have interactivity. That'll be off on that right-hand side as well. I already mentioned the portals. They're going to be a key part of what we do. We'll have SharePoint communication sites with video portal templates out of the box. You can create great looking content with just a click. but then you can go and customize it for branding or the content that's on it or who has access to it all you want. Teams meeting recordings are the next part. This is actually the part that we've already started moving to OneDrive and SharePoint. And there we go. So we've had some really painful gaps there as far as being able to sort of bring these all together. And we're trying to address all those, especially for A1 licensees. We had a temporary gap where recordings were not being uploaded. That is solved when you use Teams meeting recordings on OneDrive and SharePoint. And so the nice thing about building on OneDrive is that it allows us to have all those compliance and storage capabilities and sharing capabilities that you're used to on OneDrive. And this is already out there and you can already opt into it. There are some deadlines by which we're actually going to make folks move over to this. It's going to be next March for enterprises and next July for educational institutions. And then mobile, I touched on this. Essentially, we take a lot of the goodness from the Stream app and we're going to take that and port it across to all the other Office apps so that no matter where you are, you get this consistent experience for finding content, playing back content, and capturing content. From a sharing and permissions perspective, the dialog box there in the middle of that screen should be pretty self-explanatory. If you know how to share a file in Office today, OneDrive or SharePoint, then you know how to share a video going forward, including the Teams meeting recordings, which are now auto-uploading to OneDrive and SharePoint. You'll notice that the anyone with the link option is typically disabled. So one of the big pieces of feedback that we got was to get rid of the share with everyone button. That's certainly gone with this model, but you are able to share externally with, say, parents or coworkers or folks, partners in another organization. In terms of enterprise search, just by virtue of being on OneDrive and SharePoint, all of our content there gets automatically indexed with search. So now if you do a search on a specific topic for which you know there are videos, you'll not only get your videos, but you'll also get all the other files related to it. So Excel, Word, PowerPoint. So again, you have all of the content that's relevant together in one place. And across the top there, we have all files, sites, people, and news. We may add another videos tab, or we may put that as one of the filters over on the right. But effectively, you'll have a way just to look at videos as well. From an admin perspective, we've always had a separate admin for Stream, and that's been sometimes painful. What we're going to do is actually move all of our controls into the standard SharePoint and M365 admin centers. So you'll have full control just of your videos the same way that you do for all of your other files. One of the things that we'd love to have some feedback on is if you happen to be a Stream administrator, do you still want a specific video admin role, which maybe doesn't force you to become a full-time SharePoint administrator or have all the permissions of that, so that you can continue to just focus on the video across your organization? So we'd love to hear from that about that. From a governance perspective, everything that you can do today with other files, you'll be able to do from the compliance center there, the security and compliance center, whether it is the idea that you can do legal hold or e-discovery or retention policies, apply retention labels, all of that we're going to be investing heavily in so that videos are as rich or richer than some of the other documents out there from that perspective. Today, a lot of folks don't know this, there are analytics already in SharePoint and OneDrive that will show you how many times a file was accessed, which to us translates as how many times a video was watched. You can see who watched the video. You can find out for the whole site what the usage trends are. We're going to be adding some things which have been highly requested, who watched what part of the video, what was the average watching time, and what devices were they playing from, which is obviously great for training scenarios and education scenarios where you want to know that people are actually watching the content all the way through, that all the people have watched it, especially if it's a training where you have to go through things in a certain sequence and you have to complete everything in order for you to be compliant as an organization. From a migration standpoint, we're going to be doing a really flexible migration where you'll have a lot of ability to decide what moves and when and where. We're early in this. We're going to have a number of phases. We're going to get a lot of feedback from you, we hope. We're also going to make it easy for folks to clean up their videos and Stream because a lot of stuff is older. You may not need to move it over and then realize that it's old content and delete it. We may give you opportunities to, get rid of some of that older stuff, especially because we haven't had retention policies in Stream, which we will now in OneDrive and SharePoint. You may say, I've got these Teams meeting recordings that are a year and a half old. I don't need those. And in fact, from a liability standpoint or a compliance standpoint, I'd actually rather get rid of those. So you'll have that opportunity as well. But before we do anything, we're going to have lots of phases and iterations and feedback so that we're sure we've got all the scenarios covered before we even talk about when Classic Stream will be retired. So we'll give you lots of warning and get lots of feedback to make sure that you and users of our owners of videos can successfully move content over to OneDrive and SharePoint the way you want to. For those of you who want to customize things, we've not had APIs for Stream. It's always been a pain point. We do now, and because effectively what we have are files APIs, or files that you're dealing with, we started already integrating video functionality into the Graph Files API. And from the sense that you're just moving a file from one place to another or changing permissions, everything you can do with a Word doc today, you'd be able to do with a video today as well. But as I mentioned, we're also adding video-specific capabilities. So for example, around captions and transcripts and manifests, you'll be able to do special handling on those as well. So we're just going to make the existing Graph API even that much better. So across M365, you'll have full control of all your videos. And then you asked about storage. There was that question earlier. So the way it works today is there's a small amount of storage that comes with Stream. Tomorrow, the Stream will, the videos will count against two things. One is against your SharePoint quota. The good news is that most of the storage will be from individuals who are recording meetings. And all of that will go into OneDrive for Business. And because effectively users have unlimited OneDrive storage, it's 1 terabyte, but you can request it to go higher. And most people don't get anywhere near close to using theirs. It effectively opens up a much larger pool of storage overall that does not count against your storage quota for SharePoint. One other thing too is that as part of this move, we're actually changing the way we're handling live events. If you have tried doing live events, and you've looked up some of our help docs, you'll notice that you can do them from Teams or Yammer or Stream. And there's one chart that I just love, which is 5 columns wide and 19 rows deep, which tells you what combination of technology you need to use to get certain features. And it's kind of painful. So tomorrow, what we're doing is moving everything into Teams. Teams will handle all live events going forward, and they're going to scale from a 2-person one-on-one 100,000 users and make it really easy for the presenter to say, I want this to have everybody interactive, or I want to check a couple boxes here and say, these people are my presenters and producers. As an educator, I actually want to record this, but I want to hide the students' faces and names. So I just record the main screen. Basically, you'll be able to set layouts for webcasts and recordings and large events and small events. So it'll all be in one simple UI. And it will just all happen either with an external encoder, if you happen to prefer using that for higher production value, or with the built-in capabilities right in the browser or in the Teams client. And then from a roadmap perspective, some of this, I should have updated some of this. Some of it's already happened. So we have a lot of things already moving. You'll see there on the left, the available now, which includes a lot of things that just come for free as for moving video files into SharePoint and OneDrive, governance and analytics and APIs. Over in the middle column there, we talk about Teams meeting recordings being saved to OneDrive and SharePoint. As I said, you can opt into that now. If you're an enterprise, you'll need to have that in place. Be ready for that by the end of Q1, and for education by the end of Q2 in 2021. And we'll continue adding other things. We're about to add CDN support in front of OneDrive and SharePoint, which just means the content comes off faster and it gets stored closer to you, so you have a better video experience. In about 2 months, we'll be putting a new player up there, which is essentially a lighter weight but still full-featured version of the Stream player that you know already. And then so effectively, we're going to get to close to Stream parity in the first half of next year, and then add a whole lot of other value-added things in the second half of next year. If you have questions, there's a whole set of links here. I'm happy to paste these into chat. That bottom one is TMRs on ODSP. That stands for Teams Meeting Recordings on OneDrive and SharePoint, which is the phase that's already gone live. And with that, I am ready for questions.
Well, do we have a ton of questions? That was great, Matt. Thanks. Matt,
Sure.
I just called you Matt. That didn't work real well. Chris, sorry about that.
I thought you said man. I was rolling with it.
I was channeling my inner Matt Wade. I think I was thinking about something that Matt had asked me earlier. So why don't we we'll start taking these questions, and we'll get to as many as we can, and we'll do rapid fire. So we'll try to answer the question. Then if there's follow up, we'll take the next question. Then maybe we'll get back to some follow up. So let's see. Question one. I want to. Okay. I think we did okay. All right. So the first one is from Raphael. Hey Heather, you're back.
I'm back.
I forgot to ask you about your background. We don't have enough time today, but you can post what it's about in the meeting channel. See, and you're, yeah, boy, I can't. You take it to such a different level, Heather. I'm sorry, with backgrounds matching t-shirts. So from Rafa, does a user still need a stream license in order to record a meeting and have it stored in the cloud?
No, they do not. Not if they're moving it into OneDrive and SharePoint.
Awesome. I think lots of people are going to like that. Let's see, dedicated stream admin. So from Jose, on the analytics, will that display in the reports usage section in the admin center? Would be nice to see everything in one place.
Yes, so anything that you can do with other files there, you'll be able to do with videos.
In terms of analytics, awesome. From Alan Taylor, what is the timeline for support of embedded Microsoft Forms in the new stream videos?
I don't have the exact timing on that. My guess would be that it would be late second quarter next year, but I'm just taking a guess on that. I don't have the timing.
That sounds like a definite maybe. So that's we're prognosticating before you go harassing us in February. So from Terry, where will channel meeting recordings go? It would be nice if they were stored in SPO for the team. This is important for Teams teaching.
Yes, so that's a great question. If it is a channel recording, that will actually go right into the channel folder wherever the other content is. So you'll have a recordings folder in there. It'll be sitting right next to your other files. And from a student perspective, it'll look like it's sitting right next to the class materials folder in the files tab of Teams.
That's great.
Awesome. Heather, you want to take the next question?
Yeah, sorry if this was answered earlier. Matt wants to know, will Stream ever be able to save video in SCORM compliant format?
I don't know yet. We are thinking about how best to save videos in sort of a rich manifest like that. SCORM is one of the possible options, but I don't know where we're going to land on that. I would like to get to that point for sure, but I can't promise that one. But we're certainly looking at it.
All right, we got another Matt question. This time from Matt Wade. Channel meeting recordings will count towards SharePoint storage, which isn't huge, so keep that in mind, everyone. Actually, that's just more of a statement. And Amanda says, the live event feature changes will begin tomorrow. Is that correct?
Live event features? No. Do you? So if you which features do you mean?
Amanda, you want to come off of mute and ask specifically which features?
Yes, sorry, Chris. You had mentioned the raise hand and the changes to recordings, and unless I misunderstood you, but some of the different features and functionalities within live events.
Sorry, no. So that will not be changing tomorrow. I may have said tomorrow, meaning sort of, coming next, but not literally tomorrow. But those features a lot of them will be rolling out in the next 6 months. And then beyond that, beyond 6 months, you'll be able to start creating all your live events. We'll have essentially stream parity for live events in Teams, and then we'll slowly start moving away from stream for live events and just using Teams. And they'll continue to add a whole bucket load of cool features that they have coming.
Okay, I was just really excited to get it ready to go tomorrow.
Oh, sorry. No, that was the figurative tomorrow, not the literal tomorrow.
Awesome.
Deb, I know we just answered a question about where the class team meetings recordings, but so she says, I'm wondering if we're going to need to worry about class teams with those channel meetings. Deb, do you want to clarify that, or did you get your question answered? I know when we talked about where those recordings are going to go. What are your thoughts, Deb?
Deb may have had to go.
I think she's worried about the cost thing. Oh, overrunning the SPO limits.
Yeah, storage.
Well, one good thing is that we are using a lot less storage going forward. We're actually going to do some smarter things with how we transcode the video, which is how we prepare it and set it up there. So it may actually take less space than you've been using on stream. Yeah, I think if we start seeing a pattern where people are running out of storage on SharePoint, then we would probably think about how do we, especially if it's more, if it's exceeding the limit that you would have had on stream, then we'd probably think about how we can fix that.
Oh, awesome. You want me to keep going, Dave, or you want to take the next one from Mandy?
Mandy had one, and then Matt Wade also had one. So let's go. Matt raised his hand. So Matt, do you want to come on? Just use the. Hey, Matt Wade.
Thank you, Dave.
Bearded Matt Wade. Oh my goodness.
I'm writing a book. This is the reminder to me that I have to get the book done so I can shave it off. Hey, Chris, first off, I want to say that all the stream updates are like fantastic. Can't come soon enough. I turned on the meeting recording setup like the day it was available, and I've been using it ever since. And I consult, so I have customers from education, government, commercial, whatever. One of the things that we figured out after turning it on, for us at least, the biggest thing was we needed to be able to share externally. So huge win. Our customers internally focused, turns out they don't like it, because right now at least, because the value for them was we like the stream experience and the transcript automatically uploading over the external sharing ability. And if you turn this on right now, you're defaulting to the external sharing ability and you're losing the stream UX. And I'm wondering, it seems like there's sort of an interregnum between the two, because if you press play on a video in OneDrive and SharePoint right now, it's a crappy experience.
It is not great, admittedly, and that's why that new player is coming in about 2 months.
Okay, so that's what I'm wondering. So we're going to get a stream experience, including the transcript as well. Like those features are going to be all there at the same time.
The transcript's actually coming sooner. I think I may get in trouble for this, but I think it's coming in the next month. English transcripts. We'll also be then adding closed captions. And then one of the things that is on my to-do list is to actually determine exactly what the dates are for getting English and, at least the 8 languages that we've been supporting back available on OneDrive and SharePoint, and then publishing that so folks can find it very easily. So,
awesome. That's great news. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Carry on.
Appreciate it. Finish that book. What's
Carry
your book
on.
Microsoft Teams User Guide.
Oh, all right. And will that be available in e-format?
In ebook format, you mean, like electronics? Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So let's see. We have a couple. Wow, you pasted. We have a lot of questions in here. I'm not sure if we're going to get to all these. Any word on the 15-minute limit of a screen recording will be increased?
Yeah, I checked with the program manager, who's the owner for that. They are looking into it. I'll tell you why it's 15 minutes. It's all being done in the browser, and because it's capturing video, to your point earlier about video taking up space, it's all that video is being compiled in real time in your browser cache. So not a big storage space like you would normally do right to a hard drive with a lot of space on it. And so there are actually technical limitations to how much of your browser space we want to use up. But we are looking to see if there's some way we can do it or make the encoding more efficient so we're using up less storage. But we've heard that feedback loud and clear, and we're trying to just figure out now how best to do that without damaging performance for all of your other applications at the same time.
Awesome. Andy makes a statement that he would use it sooner if they had. It's the only thing holding us up is transcripts. Okay. Appreciate the feedback. Well, detailed analytics. You posted some more things. Wow, we got Paul. Heather, you want to do the honors? We'll take a couple.
Still looking for transcripts to include speaker name, like what you see when doing live captioning. In live captioning, you see the speaker's name, and the transcriptions that create when the recording completes, there are no names.
Yep. So one of the things that we're doing is switching over especially for Teams meeting recordings, and using the Teams transcripts. So the information that gets captured there, which I think either does or will soon include those names that you see during the meeting, those will be in there. So rather than us recreate the transcript, after the video is handed off to us in OneDrive and SharePoint, we're just going to take the Teams one because it's pretty good, and actually the quality is better than what we've been doing in Stream.
Awesome. And I think we're down to, let's see, last question from Bill.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What sort of storage limit should we expect in Stream and SharePoint? I've read the docs on how storage limits are calculated. First of all, love that you read the docs. And hypothetically, ours may be quite a bit higher than what I expect. Is it possible that our limits could be incorrectly inflated by A1 licenses?
Oh, do you mean in Stream itself? You must mean in Stream itself. Is that right?
Bill, if you're still on and you want to clarify.
Yeah, so if I go into the Stream admin, for example, it tells me we have so much used of like
all right. I know exactly what this is.
752,000 gigabytes.
Yeah, so for better or worse, many customers are running trial versions of things, right? And sometimes for better or worse, we have seen customers running who've been allocated 1 million licenses, or 100,000 licenses, right? And unfortunately, the way they built those trials is they allocated extra storage for Stream as part of every one. So it looks like you have this huge pool of storage, but then when the trial is over, you suddenly realize, oh, I'm very near my capacity now. How do I fix that? So it is an unfortunate thing that we could not get changed once that stuff was released. But you're right. You're probably it is overinflated. I would say just do the calculations from reading the docs, and that'll actually be your pool of storage.
Thank you for that, Chris. Appreciate it. All right. So, Chris, as always, let me stop recording here, and we'll say adieu here real quick. But appreciate your time today, as always. Both Heather and I always learn something. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And is there anything